I never asked to be beautiful. I just wanted to be loved. That's what little Lila whispered to herself the day her foster mother walked away. The words were lost in the wind, unheard by anyone but herself and the old dog who followed her to the orphanage gates. Lila was 7 when she was adopted by Margaret Whitmore, a wealthy woman known in the town of Willow Creek for her philanthropic charity work and picture-perfect home. The town people admired her elegant clothes, her charming smile, and the fact that she'd taken in a foster child when she already had the perfect life. They whispered behind her back, of course, but praised her all the same. At first, Lila believed she had found heaven. Margaret's mansion was unlike anything she'd ever seen. There were gardens full of roses, a fountain that sparkled in the sunlight, and a room just for her, painted in pastel pinks, with a canopy bed and toys still in their wrappers. But none of that mattered much to Lila. What she wanted most was a mother's love. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. Margaret was kind in public, always smiling, always patting Lila's hair when cameras were around. But in private, she grew cold, distant. She would flinch when Lila tried to hug her. Sometimes, she'd just stare at her and sigh, almost with disgust. The help at the house noticed, but no one dared speak a word. To them, Margaret was untouchable. Then one morning, it happened. Lila woke to find her suitcase packed. Margaret stood by the door, arms folded, eyes avoiding her gaze. "I tried," she said flatly. "But you're not what I imagined." Lila blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" "You're not like the children I thought I'd have. Your face. I just can't connect." "I'm sorry." That was it. No tears. No explanation. Just a car ride back to the foster center, and the echo of a door closing behind her. She was too ugly, Margaret had said later, to her driver. Too odd-looking. Lila had large eyes, a scar on her cheek from an early childhood injury, and hair that curled wild no matter how it was brushed. Margaret wanted someone she could show off. Someone she could dress in lace and bring to galas. Not Lila. The orphanage took her back in, though space was tight. She shared a room with 3 other girls. None of them knew what to say to her, but Lila didn't care. She kept to herself, spending her afternoons in the library and her evenings with that same old dog, Buster, who had followed her back that day and never left. Years passed. Lila wasn't adopted again. No one came looking. Families wanted babies, or little girls with soft faces and pretty smiles. Lila, with her sharp eyes and quiet voice, was always overlooked. But she read. Oh, how she read. Books became her refuge. Stories of girls who slayed dragons, of children who grew up to change the world. She read about art, music, invention, compassion. She believed that maybe, just maybe, she could become someone worthy of love, not because of her looks, but because of her spirit. At 17, she left the foster care system and took a job at a local animal shelter. They didn't care what she looked like there. Animals loved unconditionally, and the people who worked there were kind, if a little worn themselves. She worked hard. Cleaned cages, walked dogs, and studied at night at the community college. She had a talent for healing broken animals. The vet on staff noticed and offered to mentor her. She grabbed the chance with both hands. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was hers. Then, one stormy night, something changed everything. A car accident on the freeway. A woman had swerved off the road to avoid hitting a dog. The car was overturned when the ambulance arrived. Lila, who happened to be on a volunteer emergency call with the shelter, was the first to reach the scene with paramedics. The dog was unharmed. The woman, barely conscious. Lila helped stabilize her. She stayed until the woman was taken to the hospital. It wasn't until the next day that she learned the woman's name. Margaret Whitmore. Yes, that Margaret. Life had humbled her. Her fortune had dwindled after poor investments. Her husband had passed. The house was gone. She now lived alone in a small apartment, rarely seen in public. Lila sat outside the hospital room for a long time, unsure if she wanted to go in. Part of her wanted to leave. Let Margaret feel the coldness she'd once shown a little girl. But something inside her, something strong and kind, said otherwise. She knocked softly and entered. Margaret stared, pale and shocked. It's you. Yes, Lila said. It's me. Silence filled the room. Margaret's lip trembled. Why are you here? Because you needed help, Lila replied simply. I don't deserve it, Margaret whispered. What I did to you was unforgivable. Lila nodded slowly. Maybe. But I've learned that forgiveness isn't about them. It's about us. I don't want to carry hate anymore. Tears slid down Margaret's cheeks. Her once perfect hair was gray and thin, her hands trembling. I thought, you were too different. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. Lila didn't answer. She just sat beside her, holding her hand. And for the first time, Margaret held it back. The news of the rescue spread. A local paper picked up the story. Former foster child saves her abandoner's life, the headline read. Interviews followed. People wanted to know about the girl with the scarred face and fierce compassion. But Lila never played the victim. She spoke instead about healing. About how broken things could be mended, animals, people, hearts. She used her new visibility to start a foundation, Hearts Unseen, helping overlooked kids in the system find mentorship, education, and self-worth. She didn't become famous for her looks, but for something far more rare. Her strength, her kindness, and her refusal to let bitterness shape her. Years later, at a community awards ceremony, a little girl came up to her. Big eyes, wild hair. Miss Lila, she said, clutching a ribbon she'd won at school. People say I'm ugly. But you're pretty, and you look like me. So they must be wrong, right? Lila knelt down, looked her in the eyes, and smiled. They are definitely wrong. Because Lila had learned that beauty isn't in the mirror. It's in what we choose to do, even after the world tries to break us. It's in how we rise, how we forgive, and how we love, even when we've been denied it. And that, more than any fairy tale, was the most amazing part of her story.